Okay, for our viewers at home, please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your film, and then we'll jump into some cool questions.
Okay, I'll start. My name is Elena Stanisheva, and I'm the producer of the short film Snake that comes from North Macedonia, directed and written by Andrei Volkashin.
And
Andrei?
I'm Andrei, and the film is about. I have no idea what the film is about. This is such a hard question when you have to put it with one answer. It's inspired by how children are raised to believe certain things are bad, even though when they are not really bad, to fit in the norms of a traditional society in Macedonia. That inspired the film. So it's about this little boy Mario who makes a friend with an eccentric gay guy Borche, and he's inspired to play these drag games when he dresses up in drag with his friends. But then as soon as his parents find this out, they have a very childish and violent and stupid reaction to all of this.
Awesome.
Hey, I'm Anna Pasti. I'm from Romania. I'm the director of In Between, which I also wrote and acted it. It's a story between a woman and a little boy. They come from very different worlds. And somehow, winter night, their loneliness, each loneliness feelings, I guess, make them connect somehow. And also, it's the theme I wanted to explore was about the hypocrisy of being generous.
Awesome. Who's next?
Hello, I'm Nikos. I'm the co-director of Small Talk with the Batman. We directed it with Meni Tsilianidou. And Dimitra Kapsala and Anna Maria Lagortsi are the screenwriters of this short film. It's a film about a thief, an illegal guy who come across with an ethical dilemma about helping a 9-year-old girl, Ellie.
Awesome. So, Small Talk with Badman. Other two filmmakers from that film, introduce yourselves really quickly. I'm sorry.
Hello, I'm Mania. I co-directed the movie with Nikos.
And I'm Dimitra, and I'm the co-writer and co-producer of the film.
Awesome. Small Talk with Badman. I really love this film a lot. I loved all your films, but with this film, I really like the film noir feeling of it. And could you talk to me a little bit about, the set dressing and getting the mood? And what I really liked and jumped out was the titles. Your title sequences at the beginning and the end of the film reminded me of American independent film here in the States in the late 60s into the 70s. So tell me a little bit about your set dressing and the mood that you wanted to set.
May I speak, guys? All right, so we only had 2 days inside the house for the shootings there, and 1 day for rehearsals. So we set up the whole thing really quickly, and we made just 1 day rehearsals with a little girl. And because of the girl and the late night shootings, we should be very concentrate the whole time, and the whole team was so there. So the little girl was focused and didn't miss her spot or getting bored. We were keep trying to make this whole thing fun for her first, the little girl, and the setup was easy to be such as dark because of the night. It was night when we were shooting.
We have the reference. We have to make aesthetically. It looks like a comic book. So the colors are darker, and some colors are pop up. We use the noir aesthetics at the car scene. So we have to make somehow the feeling of a superhero movie, without being so stilizarized, if I say that right.
It's such a beautiful film, and like I said, I love the titles at the beginning and the end. Anna, if you don't mind me turning to your film, where did the inspiration for your film come from?
It's based on a true story. I actually met a kid late at night in a winter night, selling books at a drive-in fast food drive-in, and I guess what impressed me, it's not that I haven't seen that before, because I had, but just the moment it happened, the fact that it was so cold, it was winter, and it was so late, and he was alone, and that he was not just begging, he was kind of having a dignity about what he was doing. So he was trying to give something for the money that he was asking for. Yes, so that's what happened, and you know, I gave him some money, and then I was about to go home, but I kind of turned back and asked him if he wants to come sleep over, and of course he looked at me as if I was a lunatic and said no. And then I asked him if, and the reason why I asked him that is because I didn't want to put him in a bad place. Maybe he didn't have a home anyway, so I asked him if he wants me to drive him home, and he's reluctantly finally said yes. So I did that. So that's how this thing started. And what impressed me about this kid was his maturity and his dignity. So that was different. And then when I I drove in a very bad neighborhood. It was 4 a.m. I've never been there before. I left him in an apartment complex. It was very dark. So I basically left him in the dark. And that feeling stuck with me. Just the fact that, okay, I did a little bit, but did I really do something for him, or was it for myself? And that's how this whole thing started.
Such a great little film, and it was beautifully shot. With the scenes in the car, it's really hard to shoot in a car, and just the back and forth between the driver and him. I mean, it's just such a wonderful dialogue there. You did a really wonderful job. And Lana, if you don't mind me asking about your film, what did you learn about yourself personally and professionally while making this film? Because you're touching on a lot of different subjects and a lot of different human feelings. I think you're on mute.
Unmute yourself.
Sorry. What have I learned from the film?
Yeah, what did you learn about yourself professionally and personally while making this film? Because your film touches on a lot of human feelings and subjects.
Yes, I mean, for me, I don't, as a human being, I constantly teach myself of how not to judge people, or how to accept the behavior as a cultural narrative in the environment where I live. Because some of the things, and I mean, some of the habits and behaviors we have are just something that we learn when we were born, when we were young, and it is something that is in a way portrait of the environment where we live. So this is something that we need all, I think this is something that we should all be aware. And the other thing is, I don't have children, but my brother has a child, and through this film, I learn how to be more careful of what to say and how to present certain subject to children, because it's not black and white. It has so many nuances, and we need to allow children to choose how they're going to live their life later on.
Andrew, same question. Andrew, same question to you. What did you learn about yourself professionally and personally while making this film?
Wow, this is a hard question for me. I don't know what I learned. I guess I learned that I think like childhood is such a delicate age that stays with you always. If and if you let it I'm going into this like very cliche territory right now, but I feel like I'm still a child inside. Obviously, I'm also a grown up, but I think it's so important for all of us to remember that there is like a part of us that is always going to be a child, and if that changes, then life for all of us just becomes less colorful and less exciting. So I think that would be the biggest thing that I took away from this beautiful experience.
Do you think that we all have a child in us still, and that child comes out at certain situations or certain parts of our lives to remind us that, you know, we need to be joyful, we need to be youthful?
Well, I don't know if all of us have that. And I mean, even for myself, I can say that there has been moments when I was consciously trying to suppress the child inside of me, you know, just because I felt like certain things are just not for grown-ups. But like, if you look at my desk here, I'm like full of toys actually. And that doesn't really stop me from being
I
a
have one
grown-up.
too, little dinosaur
But
here.
yeah, but I think like there is something very beautiful if you keep that part of you alive, and I would strongly recommend to all grown-ups to try and look for that child somewhere there. I do think that it's always there, but it's just like a matter of conscious acceptance of it and nourishment, yeah, of that
Excellent.
feeling.
I want to thank all of y'all for taking the time out. I know you're in different parts of this wonderful world we live in. Thank you for staying up with us. And thank you for just hanging out with us today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Much.
for having us.